My name is Mungala Mbuvi. I'm with City Muga in the studio, and we have Kasmuel McOure in the studio as well. But before we get to have him say something, City, kuna jamaa hapa amesema, that is Andrew Shira, amesema ati we are pro-Ruto stroke anti-DCP. What do you make of that?
No, I think he's referring to what I was saying. Among die-hard politicians, depending on which party they are die-harding for, when you say something similar to what I said,
yes,
with regards to what I called a contradiction,
yeah,
and hypocrisy,
right,
they feel you are not taking a strong position. Actually, I am. That is a strong position.
Right.
We are given to saying negative things about other people who don't share our ethnicity.
Right.
That is the way. Now, when you give it a political twist, you turbocharge it. But the understanding unwritten is that these are things you say when you're among the people who speak your language and whom you have a commonality of culture and of ethnicity.
Right.
Outside that, you say the things that are accepted. You throw in the word unity. You throw in the word diversity. You throw in the word accommodation.
Right.
So, such nice words that show that you are a citizen of the globe and you understand how to accommodate all these views.
Right. You're pragmatic.
You're pragmatic, and you're somebody who understands that the unity of Kenya by Kenyans is something that is of paramount importance. That is not how we speak when we are in the enclaves of those who speak our language. That's not how we speak.
Amen, brother. Amen. All right. A few shout-outs, of course. Mohammed Murunga, how are you doing? Douglas Kibogong, My Take 2.0, I see you. There's also Nyaboke, Atticus now. Folks, I see you. I will be reading your comments later on. But right now, let us get down to business. I'm with Kasmuel in the studio. Kasmuel, good morning.
Good morning.
I saw you, I think it was either the day Baba died or the day after, and you were at Karen. I think it was, and people were screaming and shouting, and I could see concern on your face. Was I seeing my own things? Are you actually concerned?
No, I actually was.
Yeah.
You know, Baba for me was not just a political leader.
Yeah.
He was a friend. And he was many things. He was mostly my leader, my mentor, but he also was a friend. I didn't meet him as I didn't meet him so much as a politician as I did as a father figure. And so his passing, of course, I haven't gotten to terms with it.
Yeah.
So that was something, and again, it was a difficult day.
Where were you when you found out Baba had died, and how did you find out?
So the party has been doing activations for ODM at 20, and on that particular day, on the 15th, the party was supposed to go to Kajiado. We were doing an activation as we waited for Jacom to come back to the country. He was supposed to go for the CIA trade conference. And so we were just making final plans. We had met the night before with a steering committee and just dotting our I's and crossing our T's. Then in the morning, I wake up and I just was told all is not well. And so it was crazy. So all of us just dashed to Karen. We ditched Kajiado, we went to Karen, and there's already work to be done because people are going to start flocking. We, of course, then there's grief in the room. So you're trying to work, but everyone's grieving. All of us are losing our minds. So I was in my home, but then I dashed to Karen.
Yeah. You shared a screenshot, and people were on your neck for that particular screenshot.
Yeah.
What's the problem, bro?
I mean, that's on them, man.
Yeah.
The thing about that, and this is what I really, really love about the decision I made last year. I've stood by it, and I've been very bold about it. That Baba became my friend, because he would text me like I mattered. He respected people. He had genteel, and so I've not been paying much mind to what people have been saying on socials, but it was just, there was so much to be done. There's so much that I was still learning at a time when I thought, hey, Baba, if I leave the country now, it will be complicated for me because I'm still trying to figure out the party. And he told me, no, for these particular events, these ones you can miss. This one is the one you don't miss. Then go to the EU, go to South Africa, share your experiences, because it will help us to build whatever it was.
Yeah.
So just the same way people are sharing photos, they're bickering because they don't have screenshots. The guys who had screenshots shared, and so I mean, yeah, you didn't share a screenshot because I'm sure you don't have a screenshot.
Of course, I don't.
But if you had a photo, I saw people who had photos.
Actually, I have a photo from 2015.
Guys are even sharing from 2007.
Yeah.
Someone finds a photo where he was the 10th person in the crowd that was jostling, and they're posting it. So I don't know why people are mad.
I stopped posting photos and screenshots because I realized, and we're actually talking about it with City here. Kuna vitu zingine tukifanyaje, people just don't, they will never like you or understand. So I stopped sharing screenshots, I stopped sharing photos. I cherish those moments for me, and I mourn people in that. It's a personal thing. Right. I said history ya picture na screenshots hata nikipost, and then I just stopped. But I mean, for me, I get it. I have absolutely.
But also, I've been loving Baba loudly. So for me, it's not a thing I was now surfacing out of the blue. In fact, I've shared less than what I have in my vault with my interactions with him. So just the same way I would share screenshots with him. My mama said thank you, or this is what is happening at home, and he would laugh. I'd share with him, we'd share, and I'd show him on my phone. It's just the same thing. Again, it's my social media. Okay, that's the other thing. It's not a public office where you want to tell me how to use my social media.
Exactly.
It's my private page.
Totally agree with you on that. ODM has been. We are seeing so much happening in ODM.
Right.
I don't know if is ODM united.
Yes.
Is it?
It is. The Orange Democratic Movement is just as solid as it. But we've lost. Of course, we are going through a period of immense grief. But what I've come to learn is that the chief of the Golden Heart, His Excellency, the great Raila Odinga, I feel so wrong to say that. He set up enduring structures. He set up a structure that would endure so much contradiction. It is mind-boggling. That's why people who are on the outside don't understand how we can say these things and the party still remains united. And I'll say this because if you think about it, nobody has threatened to leave the party. Even legislators who have said...
As of yet.
Yes, as of yet. But remember, there are legislators who have said that they are sure they will not be given the ticket, the ODM ticket, and they're still not leaving ODM. There are legislators who have said, who have gone on television, who are elected on ODM, who have said ODM is dead, and they've not resigned from the party. That party can withstand so much. It is so strong in it, the integrity of its structure, that I don't know. So I'm not worried when someone asks me that. I'm just like, as compared to what? What are we comparing us to?
Everyone I've had a conversation with outside the studio. That means when I'm at home, on phone calls, in WhatsApp groups, everyone is like, hey, kiri tatoboa kweli. And actually today morning, our security guard was asking me, that is the security guard at home.
Yes.
He was asking me, now that Baba is gone, unaona hii ODM ikisimama kweli? Ambia tutaona tu. Tutaona tu. And the reason I'm asking this, I'm actually asking for those guys.
Yes.
Because every single ODM leader we've had here, that's you, we've had Honorable Kaluma here, and many others we've spoken on the phone. They're like, ODM iko chonjo.
Yes.
And those are reassuring words, especially for fans and supporters of ODM and supporters of Baba. But now, for people who are looking from outside, rather with their simple eyes, they're like, this thing might not hold and stand the test of time. But anyway, you've said what you've said. From a youth perspective, now that Baba is gone, and he was a huge supporter of you young people, what does that now mean for young people in ODM?
I think this is the thing about Baba. He was so selfless, and he foresaw his exit, largely in the sense that his exit has not tampered with his ambition and aspiration for the young people. His exit has not tampered with his ambition for the project that is called Kenya. His exit has not tampered with where he wanted the Orange Democratic Movement to be. So that's what fills me with even more grief, is that he left us with a blueprint, and he told us this is what we want to do. I'll give you an example. And I'm so grateful to His Excellency that he accommodated even the latest changes. ODM is a software, if you're to think about it as an operating system, it updates almost every quarter. Remember, there are parties which are stuck in their ways, even the special purpose vehicles. And I'll offer criticism for a party, for example, our sister party in the broad-based government, and our partners must forgive me for this, but it's just a comparison. Even if you look at their communications, their communication specializes in more campaign-oriented messaging. That the day-to-day runnings of government, for example, you find that they're cloudy. But here in the Orange, you find that even newest entrants, Baba left us when we say, for example, I went, and what I was very keen on when I was joining the Orange Democratic Movement was an end to police brutality, some sort of reprieve for victims of said police brutality, and finding legal frameworks. Even as he is exiting, he fought so hard to ensure that there was a framework, even here in this 10-point agenda that allows us to have the broad-based government, that gives us a panel of compensation. People have called it extra constitutional, it is outside the legislative framework, but nobody has showed up with a better method. The whole point that there's only, I would say, 3 main areas that this panel of experts is supposed to address. It's supposed to give some sort of reprieve and some sort of requite to victims of police brutality. We cannot regain their lives, we cannot resurrect them, but we can show the family that as a country we acknowledge and we will pressure the government to ensure there is some sort of financial or social reprieve. There will be a recognition of these people, that these atrocities happened and these people were martyred in the cause of justice. It is supposed to look for legal framework. What are the legislative gaps that are there to ensure that such things do not happen, and if they do, these are the steps to be taken. He does that in his 80th year. This is a thing which I can tell you, I've not seen any other person do. Everyone is just fighting them, and some of the people who are fighting them have sat in. This is the thing. His Excellency, the Chief of the Golden Heart, the late Raila Odinga, was not appointed to be here in this panel. But some of these people who are bickering the loudest, who are calling this extra constitutional, when they were appointed, like the former Chief Justice, for example, when he was appointed in this commission for police, I didn't hear him make noise and say that it is extra constitutional. But when it comes to victims of police brutality, suddenly everybody remembers their legal training, everybody remembers that, there exists a document. But we are the people who've borne the biggest brand. Then there are people who are afforded this opportunity. The president of the Law Society of Kenya, for example, who just recently resigned, and she did not bow to pressure. She knows that her term is coming to an end, and she's my friend who I deeply respect, but here she made there was a lapse in her judgment. I say this because even when she was coming under fire, it is the bloggers it is the young people of the Revolutionary Youth League under the young captains who blogged for her, who ensured that she was not facing as much vitriol as she was online. That these young ladies and young men risked their reputations, their social acclaim for that, so that Faith could finish her mandate. In a 120-day panel, she should have sat through and worked, because she had already, she accepted the role publicly. She said that these are the terms under which I shall work under this commission. All that while she was still the president of the Law Society of Kenya, she knew what ramifications those were. But abnormal times call for abnormal measures. 120 days she should have sat through the mandate. But Baba saw this, and some of these opportunities, His Excellency Jacom gives opportunities to people, and then you bow to this mammoth which cannot be understood. How do you honor him while you know very well that the people he has led in the struggle have always lost their lives? You have one chance to make it right for the people who elected you, because again, when she ascended to the presidency of the Law Society, for example, it was under the support of Raila Odinga. How do you dishonor him in his final days, in his last days, and suddenly you are telling us now you're still moving to court?
But surely, Kasmuel, do we know all the reasons why she declined?
This is why I'm saying, I was answering this in regards to the question that Movie had asked. If you are to look at it simplistically, it is the same way. You cannot know all the reasons why there are certain appointments that have been made. We cannot know all the reasons why.
If there's something I I will not even, like, I understand, because again, Honorable Kaluma came here and there's something he said specifically about that particular committee that was set up so that they can, compensate folks. Number one, I actually agree, people need to be compensated because people have been hurt, people have been left without livelihoods, people have literally lost limbs and therefore they are unable to provide for their people. That on hand, I get it 100%. The legality or illegality of it, I think it's something that can be worked through. And when he explained some of the things, and actually he quoted Baba a lot in that particular explanation, and he was saying that if we follow the legal processes, people might never get compensated. And I was like,
he actually said that the term expires after 3 years.
3 years, yes.
All right?
Yes.
What Baba was pursuing was something that went beyond the legislative or the legal statutes. He wanted it to go beyond, into the past, and he wanted a framework that guaranteed that as a nation we understood. If someone loses a right arm, the compensation is this. If somebody loses both limbs, the compensation is this. If somebody dies. So irrespective of the time frame, there is an understanding that the events that led to that person being incapacitated, the government had a duty to compensate them, and these were the structures and the terms within which that compensation should be. That is what Kaluma said. But Baba passed away before that came into being. He said that was the thing that bothered him. He wanted to make sure that people who had been injured and had suffered as a result of this, actually it was the pursuit of these changes that we now enjoy.
Yes.
That's what brought about many of these problems. And the Baba's backyard faced the biggest. If you're talking, yes. The number of people from Baba's backyard who died as a result of these, beginning from Jomo Kenyatta, represent the largest number in the country. There are very many other people from from Kenya, very many, who also suffered. All these people, Baba felt, a system, a structure should be formulated to ensure that they get what? Compensated.
Yes, indeed.
So that's why I you forgive me if it seems I'm being a bit too cutthroat with this, but he wanted us to look through. That's why part of even the things that he was suggesting in his dialogue, this dialogue that I came and I was always popularizing, and we did many town halls, and even if you see that even some of the senators, like a senator like Eddie Okech, he was even doing town halls himself. Even in their last conversation, it was around the national dialogue. Knowing very well that these are the things. That's why we so passionately wanted to do these things, and whenever we sat, this is what we spoke about. So whenever I see people walk away to try and please a mass that does not understand the mandate and the burden that you carry, I feel as though they've let us down.
Yeah.
Yes.
There's something Gladys Wanga said, the governor of Homa Bay yesterday. She said that, and together with a huge team, they said that there are certain people who are not invited to Bondo, and I think probably Luo Nyanza. What do you make of such a statement coming from a leader of that capacity?
First of all, the ODM national chairperson, Her Excellency Governor Gladys Wanga of Homa Bay, did not say that there are people who are not invited. That she did not say. I think we would just want to misinterpret her, and I've seen a lot of that happening on social media. Okay, what she said, and I agree with her statement and her sentiments, is that Governor Kahiga does not speak for himself. The things, and we have to be absolutely honest, Governor Kahiga was addressing a crowd of mourners in a funeral.
In his county.
And several people recorded him saying that the death of the chief of the Golden Heart, the Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga, the late, his death was an answered prayer to the people of Mount Kenya. And the people did not storm out of that meeting. So he's not, the Governor Wanga is just addressing an uncomfortable truth that these are the things that tribalists say in whispers. And she said that we then now have to look at who are the people who fraternize with them. Because we cannot, sometimes I really wonder that you want to tell us that, for example, these condolences represent the whole and these remarks do not represent the whole. We should be people of dignity through and through, because you will not look at the ODM and find us, because we've borne the brunt of tribalism. We know what it means. And so she says that the Rubicon has been crossed, that the line has been drawn, that if you are a member of the Orange Democratic Movement, you know what Baba was to us. You know what Baba is to us. And you now want to tell us that we have to take this lightly. She never said anywhere. She just said, now we know our friends. And I just want to echo those sentiments. As young people, as members of the Orange Democratic Movement, as people who've seen the struggle that Raila Amolo Odinga has been through, we will forgive. We have forgiven a lot of things and we will continue to forgive. But we now know our friends, and we now know the people who are not our friends. And she went ahead and now said that if you want to fraternize with these people, then you are making it really complicated to be our friend, which is true. You've put us in a position where all the ODM legislators who are serving currently are serving only because of Raila Amolo Odinga. Largely.
What do you mean by that?
They serve largely because of Raila Odinga's influence. The crowds they held in escrow. They served because he saw it fit for them to get a party ticket. A lot of them will tell you, if it were not for the intervention, you know how getting party tickets are hard. Then now you want to tell us that you want to fraternize with the people who are saying that the death of the person who made your career.
Let me ask you this thing, Kasmuel.
Yes.
How do we have this ODM discussion and not make it a Luo discussion?
Oh man.
Explain.
I get that question.
That's exactly what
I
I'm
get
asking
that question. It's a potent one. Raila Amolo Odinga, despite being Luo, has been a national figure throughout his struggle, in the sense that the birth of the Orange Democratic Movement was not birthed as a Luo outfit. But even if you're thinking leadership, how many leaders do I have from other tribes? My deputy party leader, Abdul Swamad, is from the coast. The other deputy leader, Mheshimiwa Osotsi, is from Western. Bwana Simba Arati is from Kisii. Then my national chairperson is from Homa Bay. If you go through the party structures, you'll find the people from the coast, the people from Central, so it's a national party. But he still remains to be our party leader, and he happens to be Luo. He was buried he was given a state funeral, but according to Luo traditions and customs. But even my Secretary General is a man from Western. But we know that he vied twice in his own home turf, and he could not achieve victory until the intervention of the party that is Orange Democratic Movement through the party leader Raila Amolo Odinga, that he gets his position. And you see, that's why now I become very cross when I see that we don't want to honor Mzee in his old age. And people have been coming under fire of people saying that I'm attacking my Secretary General. Like I said in the beginning, the Orange Democratic Movement is a party that is rich enough to withstand internal contradictions and external. My Secretary General, who is supposed to be the spokesperson of the party, who has walked with Baba the long road and has seen the struggles that Mzee has been through, has walked with him that journey. Yesterday, when we needed a voice for the party, because the part of the responsibility that Secretary General holds is that he is supposed to be the spokesperson for the Orange Democratic Movement, he puts out a very flimsy statement and says that now we knew that some people hated Baba, but Governor Kahiga is the vilest of them all. It's something which the Gen Z would stay observing, or language icho too. At a time when the Orange Democratic Movement needs firm direction, we are forcing Governor Wanga, who is the national chairperson, who has not slept. I've seen her in Karen. She stayed with Mama. She has organized us and whatever, done all these things. She's the one who still has to run around, organize for media. We've left this burden upon one person, and now she's being vilified and being bullied online and being misinterpreted because we refuse to step up to the mandate. Now I disagree with him, because then he goes ahead in his statement and says Baba would have had lunch with such people.
Kasmuel, there's a problem here.
Yeah.
ODM really does need to show a united front, because it looks like there's a section of ODM who clearly do not like Sifuna. Clearly, there's no love lost there. There's no, whatever it is that Sifuna stands for. Everything that Sifuna said, even the things that are being mentioned as being contradictory, he said when Baba was alive.
I agree.
Okay, And Baba always gave that impression that he supported what Sifuna was saying. Why am I saying it is important? Because if these divides are not settled, then ODM is going to look like a Luo party. Because the people who seem to be opposed to Sifuna seem to be members of parliament or legislators who come from the Luo nation.
Right.
Okay? Now, far be it from me to be the person who is suggesting what ODM should do. ODM knows what they should do and they should do it. But let me say what I really wanted to say. The question that was asked was, how does ODM survive after Baba? Okay? If we start with this country, KANU survived because Jomo Kenyatta, who was then the leader of KANU and the president of Kenya, died, and the president who followed him was also the president of KANU and the president of the country. KANU diminished. It wasn't vanquished. It diminished when many people who had been key pillars in that party left the party, led by Raila Odinga. So that gives us a framework from which we can actually look and judge other political parties in this particular country. Unfortunately, our political parties are attached to individuals, so they more or less appear like they are properties of the individuals, and yet that is actually not the truth. The truth is that the people who lead these parties are the people who the community from where they come from have determined to follow en masse. Because in the absence of the following of these people, they would not have a constituency from which to begin their operations, but they are guaranteed that vote. If we go across the border, NRM have been in power for the last 39 years, one president. So they haven't been tested, so we don't know. But in Tanzania, CCM has been tested. Because Julius Nyerere didn't only stop being the chairman. In 1919, kutoka chama. He was even chairman of CCM. He left. He was alive.
Yes.
And the party structures came into being, and we saw the changes. Those who had been younger in the parties took over, and they've had these transitions from the time Julius Nyerere began until now. Minimal hiccups. They have the opposition, and they're going through what we went through. But if you look at other parties within the country, DP was an old party, nobody even hears of it. Sifuna party is actually older than ODM. It didn't diminish, but it was never anything to speak of. It existed, one or two members, but it wasn't there. All these other parties that people have, and there are very many parties in this country, they're over 100. They are of literally no significance. They are briefcase parties that people have for purposes of whatever it is that they plan. I can't say that I know. ODM has proved to be a national party. The influence of the late Raila Odinga and the rubber stamp, and in trying to be as inclusive as possible of all the nationalities of this country, is something that you can see even now. But it is absolutely important for, if this party is to claim that they're united and to claim that they're going to survive, the national outlook that Baba spent that much time trying to create must actually be demonstrated. Because as of now, all the people whom we hear speaking come from the Luo nation.
I think, first of all, City, it is such high praise that you draw parallels of ODM and ruling parties.
Yes, I do.
That is the key difference between the Orange Democratic Movement and the parties you've mentioned. That those parties existed to capture national power,
yes,
and they have stayed in power.
Yes.
The Orange Democratic has endured without ever capturing national power. So we are not threatened because we have never had this power to begin with. So there's nothing new. You know, it would be different if the people's president had died while having been in the throne. But we know very well that under this constitutional dispensation, you must excuse my largesse, Raila Odinga was the monarch under which president served. And so the Orange Democratic Movement, is the constitutional monarch, because every 2 years you will mess up and he will be there to sort out your mess throughout. So the Orange Democratic Movement is not threatened by any of this. That's why I keep on saying, and when you mention that aptly, from the coast we have Mheshimiwa Joho, who is currently in cabinet and is very influential.
Where?
In the coast.
He's not.
Okay, fine. We have Governor Abdul Swamad, who's very influential I would say is very influential because he ends up being governor. You know, he is our deputy party leader, and he speaks. In fact, he's the one who was hosting us for ODM at 20. It is his county. Mombasa was painted orange. If we go to the Maa community, we have Senator Ledama Olekina, who's doing such a great job in bringing the Maa community together. If you go even to Laikipia, you go to Kisi, to wherever. So ODM still remains to be a national party. So these contradictions, and I remember your question was about there seeming to be a group of legislators that are hell-bent on that sounds like they hate Sifuna. I would want to ask, what is people in political parties to be loved? Of course, popularity, it really does help. But if you're dispensing your work, you know, how special do you have to be? Who are you that Baba loved so much that you can be contrary to his masses? Because as you rightly put it, that Baba himself in a delegates convention in was it in Busia, when Sifuna had just done an explosive interview with Yvonne Okwara and waxed lyrical about how he's against the broad-based and whatnot and all those kinds of things, he goes ahead in front of his people and he says that, hey, lazima mjue kwamba Sifuna ndio spokesperson wa chama, and he does that, and he defends him as a good leader, as the supreme leader should. Days later, what happens? The same Sifuna was speaking the way he was speaking, came and read a statement to us, the official position of the party, because now I'm judging him not as Sifuna, as a senator. I think he deserves to have personal opinions, and he's a smart man, he can have his personal opinions. Now I am judging my Secretary General because he read and he said we are firmly within the broad-based arrangement. So who are you again speaking out of turn after telling me, because you know me, I'm an ordinary member as things stand. You tell me one thing that we're in a broad-based arrangement, and then suddenly you want to confuse, you want to be Secretary General when it's convenient, then you want to be your personal a person when it's inconvenient.
Kasmuel, what I'm saying,
yes,
stop airing your dirty linen in public.
But
that's all I'm saying.
We are not airing any dirty linen.
You are.
I'll tell you CT why I'm pushing back.
I say I'm a consumer of information.
Yes.
See, I'm looking at what you people
the reason why it feels like the ODM is airing its dirty linen in public is because we are the largest party. We cannot all fit in a WhatsApp group. We are a party of over 7 million. If 7 million people have some sort of business meeting, it is bound to seem like it is public. And I think this sounds good because it means if it's in public, you are in ODM strongholds. And so it means that the party is even doing better than we thought it was. What I am just trying to say is that it is time for leadership to do what is right and not what is popular. They have to take such firm stance and do what actually they are mandated to do, because we will not accept this thing as young people, where Baba for 20 years he steers the party so steadily through such hardship. Then upon his demise, you want to ruin the party for us on populist grounds. You think anyone is ever going to be more popular than Raila Odinga? If Raila Odinga in his wisdom, because all of them bow to his wisdom, they all agree that he knew better than they did. If he in his wisdom saw it fit to enter a broad-based arrangement after consulting the entire nation, those people, because I attended a central management committee, they were not opposed there. So if you know what he should be doing, if you feel you are opposed to this arrangement, go call a national delegates convention, ask the people to the people. If the people say yes, yes. If the people say no, no. But as leadership, you cannot come to us after telling us that we are firmly in this arrangement. You want to become an activist again. That one is what we are saying as young people.
I have a question.
A certain quarter is trying to spoil this thing for us young people in the Orange Democratic Movement. We won't allow it.
All right. So he said, that is Baba. Baba said that ODM is firmly in the broad-based government. So is it firmly in the broad-based government until 2027, and then from there mambo ya badilike, or 2027 and beyond to 2032?
I have not minced my words. I said that we are firmly in the broad-based government. The broad-based government has an expiry date.
Yes.
Yes, it's 2027.
Okay.
Even the president himself has acknowledged it publicly. There was no deal for 2027. So if people, and that's why I keep on saying this will be judged. And Baba himself said that we shall go back to the people and the people will judge us based on what we did. So I'm not here. Let us not conflate these issues. And that's why I tell my Secretary General not to try and be crafty. This means you just work. Even he has a term, the term that will expire. But right now, what we need is stability. But now, on the one hand, people want to say, let's not make this a Luo affair, let's not make this thing a whatever affair. But in the day-to-day running of the party, the people who I see defending the party are legislators from a particular zone. All they want to do, they want to come and criticize ODM in ODM strongholds. My Secretary General does not call for meetings in his backyard to do the things that he comes to do when in front of Baba. That's another thing which I sort of disagreed with. And now when I'm grieving, I want to say that now there's no, you know, the people who think that the ODM is split into two. Yes, as it is now, we are saying we have to do one thing. If the majority of the party, the majority of the members have said that now we are tired of dying, we are tired of tear gas, now nyamaza, fanyeni kazi. That's what we are asking our legislators. Work for the party, work for the people. This time for siasa will come, but they are where people want to bring all these kinds of things. And you know, me, I can politic because I am not in that. I'm not in an active member of leadership. But right now, we need a decisive sort of leadership, and it will not come by bickering, by trying to play cheap popularity politics. Whether I'm threatened or not, I'll keep on saying this, that there I think my Secretary General was wrong.
Okay.
Yes.
There's something the president said during the burial of the late Raila Odinga, and he said ODM will be part of the next government or form the next government. What does that mean?
That is a sentiment. That is the whole purpose of ODM. Yes, it's the whole purpose of our party existing. We are just saying that the purpose of party existing is to capture political power. Yes. So if currently, if you think about what is the largest party, it is the Orange Democratic Movement. Yes, because it remains largely unchanged. There have been factions in the UDA. Some of them, the dark man with the dark heart fell, and from heaven he took a third of the angels there. So if you're just thinking shrinkage, the ODM has not shrunk.
Yeah.
And so I'm thinking about it. He's a realist. He has seen the tides and maybe he's trying to quote us. He's trying to look for it. But that's why we're saying we have to strengthen the party. The only way we strengthen the party is by being united. There's no antagonism. You want to antagonize this arrangement that you have. You're antagonizing us to what? Yes, because you're not doing anything substantive for the people that you will say that. Now you see, in this broad-based arrangement, you're doing this, but out here, we're doing this. I find it very pretentious that these people on the one hand stand and say, and I disagree totally with this approach, by the way, but politically that's the current mosaic we have in Kenya, but that's what it is. Empowerment ni mbaya. Then they stand on the other side on one weekend, they go and do the exact same empowerment program, but for brokies. They're saying on the one hand that president is being tokenistic when they go, haya nimekuja na 1,100 kutoka kwa mheshimiwa nani, haya nimekuja na 200,000 kutoka kwa mheshimiwa nani, alafu mimi naeka hii inakuwa milioni. What is that? That is not what these people are elected to do. So they want to play cheap politics, and they're jealous because us, we don't have a mandate. Personally, I can do that. But them, we hold them to a higher standard because they've been given a mandate, constitutional mandate by the people. Yes. So this one is not, a 2027 deal has not been reached yet.
But would you not say, Kasmuel, that hypocrisy is a common currency in politics? I mean, if a certain sentiment or a certain perspective favors you, then it is good.
Bwana City, would you not say that
if it
eloquence is a function of media?
Let me put it this way. Yes. Flattery will get you everywhere. And thank you very much for the compliment. But the point I'm trying to make is this. People who are in your sphere have a tendency of speaking tongue-in-cheek literally all the time.
Right.
When it suits your purposes, you're in this position. When it doesn't suit your purposes, you're in this position.
Yeah.
For instance, in 2022, when UDA, Kenya Kwanza, was in power, Ruto could do no wrong. Absolutely. And in certain quarters, the people who belong to the Orange Democratic Party and those who are of the Rainbow faction were the devil incarnate. Punde si punde, there's a little change, and certain members of the executive are no longer members of the executive. And the conversation flips completely. It's the same person. So essentially, it's clear he is good so long as what he does serves your interest. That's our politics, isn't it? Okay? So now ODM are in a position where the broad base, as we say it, seems to serve their purpose. And by the way, I'm strengthening what Kasmuel was saying. That actually is the reality of politics, and we should not pretend that it's anything else. Everybody looking for an avenue through which they can gain power. But there's another conversation which is mightier than that, but it's a conversation that is completely forgotten when we have this conversation. What it is that those formations do to better the lives of the citizenry.
Yes. Yes.
That conversation is not had. And if it's had, it's in a statement. We had Mheshimiwa Wamalwa here.
Right.
And when we took him to task about this group that calls itself the United Opposition, and said, okay, so we hear what you're saying, but what do you want to do different? The essence of what he said was, we want to bring in new policies. For heaven's sake.
Wanatenga.
For heaven's sake, that is exactly what this current president said when he wanted to become president. But he took it a step further. He signed charters, and he also explained to the citizen that there was an issue. Who the enemy was and who you are fighting. Hustler versus dynasty. Okay? So the hustler was made to understand dynasty is your enemy. But now he's joined the dynasties, has he not?
Yes.
So where does that put him? Has he, by his own actions, put himself in the position of the enemy of the people whom he said he championed for? These are now the murky waters of our politics. Too many words conflating, too many words stated at some point, and then others stated that are in complete contradiction to this one here. But in all this conversation, the person who votes these people in and their welfare is completely forgotten. It's not even discussed. We are consumed with these activities that these political parties consider to be germane to the existent. Again, the conversation about the people who elected them is lost in all this melee. Kasmuel.
Yes.
How does ODM hope to make the lives of Kenyans better?
I will tell you, and this is what I will tell the youth. If you're a young person in the Orange Democratic Movement, you know how much you have suffered. You have suffered more than I have, and that's why I will be here to be pragmatic. This is the one time that the party is enjoying peace. And we say, even in common parlance, that peace is sweeter than all these other things. Comrades know what I mean. This is the first time when we are seeing peace within the party. This is the first time we are not going to demonstrate, where we are not being killed aimlessly. This is the first time we have a framework of compensation in a panel that people now are calling extrajudicial. They were not calling us going to demonstrations. They were not calling those ones illegal. But suddenly, when it is time for us to get compensated, for our mothers to get some sort of reprieve, suddenly the broad-based is bad. This is the first time, and I will tell you, without fear of contradiction, there are roads that have been dualed in certain parts of this country, roads that lead to kiosks, while the main road that opens this trade corridor between Kenya and Uganda has not been dualed. But the one time that kilometers of roads are heading towards Uganda, suddenly this broad-based arrangement is bad. Young people know that if you come from McOure like I do, getting an ID, you have to look for I think that's maybe how His Excellency knew he was the third grandson of Nabongo, because he had to look for your ancestors to prove that you actually are a Kenyan. Now we can get IDs. Now suddenly the government, the broad-based arrangement is bad. For our young people in the Orange Democratic Movement, you have suffered. Let us breathe. Your blood has flowed for this country. Let us breathe. If people are calling this praise and worship, then let us sing. We will buy tambourines and sing louder. If that is what it means for us to get a decent education, to get roads, to get water, to get rural electrification, these are things which are due us by the Constitution. But this Constitution we fought for, we bled for, but has not been serving us. And suddenly, our Supreme Leader left us in a certain arrangement that is getting us these things. Who is this person who is so dear, who's more dear to Baba than Baba's main confidant? His brother, who knows so much about Raila Odinga more than Senator Dr. Oburu, who is now the current party leader. Now you want to tell us, because you're speaking contrary to the party leader, you have to tell us, do you want that position of party leader? Because our work as young people, when we say we want to strengthen, to invigorate and populate the party, we tell them we cannot bring two reports. If there's a report by a party leader, there's a statement by a party leader, and there's a statement by somebody else, the party leaders, if it is constitutional, it takes. Currently, as things stand, this is where it is. The young people of the Orange Democratic Movement will remain firmly in the broad-based arrangements, because we are the lieutenants, we are the generals, we are the ones who, after withdrawing, we saw the noise dissipate. Let us wait. And I sit down and I really empathize with the Odingas. I really do. These people have not been able to mourn. I wax lyrical and talk about my party leader. Raila Odinga was a father, he was a husband, he was a brother. Have you seen the amount of cameras that have been shoved in Mama's face? Have you ever seen what Mama Ida Odinga has gone through, a widow go through? Cameras consistently on his face, people trying to market products. Have you seen what has happened to Rosemary Odinga? People have forgotten everything about how entrepreneurial she was. People are just dragging her on social media. Have you seen what has happened to Raila Odinga Jr.? They forget that he holds a master's. He's a master CEO of a creative hub. They've forgotten all that. People have decided to mock him for a condition beyond his control. And have done whole challenges. Well orchestrated propagandas. Have you seen what happened to Winnie? It has gotten to a point where people have forgotten that this is a woman, a member of who represents us in the East African Legislative Assembly, a devilishly educated woman who has lost her father in less than a week and has had to see her father breathe his last. she's currently being hypersexualized on social media. That is what is happening. And you want me to trust those people? Have you seen what has happened to people like Salah Okech? Salah Okech was Baba's adopted son, a man who had Baba's heart. Whenever you heard Baba was somewhere in Dubai, in the deep waters, or in the point in the marina, Baba was with Salah Okech. Have you considered what has happened to Dr. Oburu Oginga? A man who lost his best friend and his brother, who were raised practically as twins, on his birthday. Less than a week ago, that was 15th, today is 23rd. Less than a week ago. And everyone now is asking us what is going to happen. Have you seen what has happened to Mheshimiwa Ruth? You're telling us not to make this a Luo affair. And we are mourning. Who am I? Am I supposed to mourn as a different tribe? I can only mourn as a Luo. It has been a week. But the enigma was so larger than life that it feels like he died such a long time ago. It has been barely less than a week. And everyone wants to make proclamations about what the party direction should be and whatever. And they were not doing this for the enigma when he was alive. That's why I keep on saying that right now we will stay in this broad-based arrangement. I say it without fear of contradictions. Those troops that I am seeing, certain quarters, certain elected legislative members. Nawe kama wewe ni youth ODM, usikuwe mjinga, usikuwe fala. Mheshimiwa hawezi kuja kukutoa hapa, anataka kukupeleka wapi? Anataka kukupeleka kwa streets. Ni kama wewe hujauliwa, ni kama marafiki zako hawajauawa. Hawa waheshimiwa hakuna relatives wao wamekufa, especially wenye wanapingana na hii serikali. They have always been tagged. When it's time for them to hide, they want to hide in those ghettos of those people who are currently enjoying peace. We will not tolerate it, man. We will not tolerate it.
There is no situation where a leader who is in his prime, even if the prime was 80, has passed away, and there has been no scuffle. It never happened. There are always issues. Why I brought in Nyerere into the conversation is because you can compare him with Moi and even Kibaki in this sense. People who leave office and then pass away. Okay? So they even have other roles after they've retired. But when a leader who is in position of leadership passes away, and Raila Odinga was unique in that, yes, he was never president, but everything about what he did even went beyond the presidency. So his passing away is likely, as we see it, raise so much dust in all manner of directions. That, unfortunately, is part and parcel of who the person was. Because you cannot be the person who brought about or was always in the groupings of people who brought about such monumental change, and then your passing doesn't bring about change. Oh, yes, it does. The passing away also brings a proper shake-up of the status quo. It does. And these conversations that we are speaking of represent that. And these are strong conversations we're having.
Oh, yeah.
But what it does, in an essence, the conversation we were having earlier on, you summed it well. It tells you who your friends are really. So take note. Don't forget easily what you are seeing now. Because people are actually coming out in the element. Don't assume that didn't happen. Adopt Jomo Kenyatta's stance that we will forgive but we will not forget. You see it, don't pretend it didn't happen. It did happen. Don't pretend it wasn't said. It was said. But it then forms a reference point. So as you relate to this person, you have an idea who it is you're relating to. No falsehood here. But the subject of my inquiry, if I am to eulogize Raila Odinga, that will be another day. The Orange Democratic Movement. That really was my focus. That's what I was talking about. That's what I was questioning. Because in the absence of Raila Odinga, there would have been no ODM as we know it. It's not really complicated.
It's true.
It's a simple issue.
Yes.
Simple, straightforward.
Yes.
Okay? He gave it power. He gave it zap. He gave it energy. Now, the moment that energy is gone, new energy has to be created. And in my mind,
this is the process of creating it.
You are a mind reader.
Hii kugongana yote.
You are a mind reader.
As far as conspiracy theories go, someone, I was reading this now on social media, someone was saying that all these things we are seeing with Rigathi Gachagua, Governor, Kahiga, and then what is happening with Sifuna, what is happening with Governor Gladys Wanga, all these things somehow are orchestrated by an external force. And of course, this external force is said to be the president, that is President Ruto. And the fact that, Mutai said this, and then now we are seeing Gladys saying this, and then now we are seeing Sifuna saying something, all this was some domino effect that was set in motion.
It's called dead cutting, chief.
By the president.
Something so absurd.
Do you in your wildest thoughts, do you think that is actually a possibility?
I'll tie this to the concern that CT raised about the Orange Democratic Movement. The Orange Democratic Movement has always been a pro-people party that unites people in the center-left in our ideology. And I've spoken about it aplenty. But we must look askance at people who want to sabotage what this is. The energy that Raila Molo Odinga left, he left so many influential people that one person leaving the movement will not alter it. That 10 people, if 10 influential leaders left the Orange Democratic Movement today, it still would not die because they set processes and it was born through a popular struggle. There are people who are budding and just waiting to come and occupy who are much better. So that's why I keep on looking at this, and I'll keep on defending my national party chair. She's in a most unfortunate place. Even during the burial, I saw people saying that said the vilest thing, that she's planning to even organize murder for people. And this is a person who I've seen give herself wholeheartedly to the party. These are the people you can call, and it is dicey. When I call my party chairperson right now, she'd be like, yes, Kasmuel, it's either I'm in a meeting or not. I'll call you later. What is it? She knows all of those, and these structures have been created and they still endure. There are people who are not doing that work. There are people who I don't see on the day-to-day. There are people who I only see when it is time for media. When a convention has been organized, they don't participate in all these things. Some of them are legislators. They don't digitolea. And I have to give props to the female legislators. I've seen people like Mheshimiwa Elachi, who people drag. She's doing so much, and she continues to do so much for this party. Akina Mheshimiwa Rene Mayaka. All of this, Mheshimiwa, you call people for praise and worship, akina Junet. They never miss a meeting. Even lowly meetings with us people who are huku chini, who are ordinary members. But some of these people who never attend any of these meetings, they want to come and lecture us in the media how the party will be run. That's why sometimes I'm very bitter. And because we have been begging people to join the Orange Democratic Movement. Sasa unajua watu wanataka kutufunza kazi. And I told them, you just dial *486*036#. You join, then now you can lecture me. But I am here in the struggle. You want to teach me how to be in the Orange Democratic Movement. And I've been persuading you for the past 1 year to join. Join if you think my position is bad. Join and populate it, become the majority, and say this is the direction we will take. But for now, whether there is an external hand or not, I know in my heart of hearts that the Orange Democratic Movement has a memorandum of understanding with the United Democratic Alliance that has a 10-point agenda. We will just hold that up, and we have an enduring agreement up to 2027. The last words that His Excellency said is that we remain in this arrangement till 2027, his last public appearance. What he said is that we do not have an agreement on the presidency come 2027. Why are we talking about 2027 now? And we have people who need to be compensated. That's why we have a committee of experts that's supposed to take care of that. Why are we talking of 2027? And there are young people to be mentored in the party. You're not mentoring them, you just want to antagonize. We have just come from protests last year. Hii wabunge wenye wanaongea sana, especially in the party, walikuwa wamepumzika. Sasa mnataka kuturudisha kwa mbio. Sasa sisi kama vijana tumesema tunatulia where our interest will best be, and I will seek this, and I've said now for the youth, nitabisha hii milango yote. I will even speak to I'll seek audience even with the president himself, if that is what it will take for the youth to be peaceful and to have this employment, and for just our young people to not suffer the brunt of bullets. Whatever it takes, that I will do. So if you think it is not in the Orange Democratic Movement, that's why I said it yesterday. If you think that now this arrangement does not work for you, you don't want Dr. Oburu to be your party leader, and you did not oppose it in the central committee, you did not do that. You think that the party is now being too backward for you, and you think you want to form it, because this is not propaganda. They have stooges within the party. So this party is not trying to be sabotaged from without, because we will not tolerate it from without. And on knowing our enemies and knowing our friends, we know them, because when my party chairperson says that we now know who our friends are, people are speaking, we will not forget. We will remember. You cannot tell us to have lunch with people who have wished and have consistently wished death and ill to our party leader, and suddenly now you're telling us, what we need to do is to have lunch instead of censoring. We hakuna silete mchezo.
Kidogo inakuwa tricky.
Silete mchezo.
Kasmuel, thank you so much. As usual, it's a pleasure hosting you here, hearing your perspectives, of course, and we wish you all the best as far as your personal ambitions are concerned, and as far as ODM is concerned. And I'm sure it won't be long before we know exactly what is where with who and how.
Asante sana.
Yeah?
Yes.
All right.